Melissa.
And I'm Mike, and welcome back to the podcast. What is going on?
Welcome back to the podcast. I feel like I have so much headphone cord down here.
Yeah. So, this week, this weekend, this past weekend, there was big news in that there was a TikTok service outage. And
Not a service outage.
well, it was, I mean, technically it was a service outage because they shut the TikTok service off.
So what's funny about that is that everyone was saying like, oh, TikTok's gonna get banned, and everyone was, spilling their guts and everything. But there were some people that were saying that, what was gonna happen with the TikTok ban was only basically like, um, you would still be able like, oh, there's a TikTok ban on the 19th, but the next day you would still be able to use it. It just won't get updates, and that.
So,
TikTok,
like, old videos would be on there, but...
Like, TikTok updates their app, I think, like, there's, like twice a week, TikTok has updates to fix bugs and things like that.
Okay, yep.
And it was saying that you would still be able to use it, you just wouldn't be able to update it. Or if you went in the Apple Store, you wouldn't be able to download it.
Right.
But then that's when it threw people off that night, when you went to TikTok and it would just come up with that alert.
Yeah, and for me, the funny thing was it hits, you get notifications all the time about, like, somebody posted something, or somebody is on TikTok.
Is live or whatever.
And so I got one of those, and when I went to go into it, that's when I got the error. And it was the night of the shutdown.
I saw someone post on Instagram something about it. And
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, so, and it was, like, my feeling is the reason that TikTok did that, because there was nothing requiring them to do that.
Oh,
like
really?
The government didn't say, you have to shut it down. No. What I think they did that as kind of a power move, okay, you're going to say that, we have to, because the gist of the whole story is that there was a law passed I think it was last year, that said, basically by this date, by the 19th of January, they either had to sell to a U.S. company, or it had to be shut down. And
would they have to sell TikTok as a whole to the U.S., or would people that even use TikTok in other countries, they would also it would be owned fully by the U.S.?
The U.S. operation, because the U.S.
like
TikTok is its own company.
Right.
But it's like a subsidiary, I guess, of the Chinese company.
Right.
So, and obviously the reason they did that is because there's data that's shared, or at least the allegations are that there's data that's shared from TikTok with, China and the Chinese government and all that. And so, security risks, all those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So... The most interesting thing to me was, as it approached, what happened was people stopped using TikTok for a little bit, and they started using a different app, Chinese-owned,
called Red Note.
Red Note,
Yeah.
right? And the funniest thing to me about that was, like, there's what is it on Instagram? Reels. Is that Instagram or Facebook? Yeah,
Reels on Instagram.
And then there's Shorts on YouTube, and so those are options
there are
for
the
people.
things on Facebook, like you said. There's also
There's
also other just apps in general, like Lemon8.
Mm-hmm.
Lemon8 isn't exactly like TikTok, but it's kind of similar to TikTok, where you can post little clips, shorts, and pictures and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, there are other options, but so I've seen I saw a picture, like a screenshot of something someone posted on Red Note. And it does look like a carbon copy of TikTok. But how do people even find Red Note?
Yeah,
how do they even find it?
Especially since that's also a Chinese based app.
Because a lot of the comments Americans were getting on there were in Chinese. Like, they were from people in China.
Yeah, so there you go. I just think it's funny that, at least the way the news was reporting it, the reason people were doing that was almost like a protest. Oh, you're going to tell. But I think what it uncovered is the problem with the government doing a ban of an individual app
Yeah.
based on that versus passing a law that, for example, says that if it's an app running on a device in the United States, it can't share data with foreign entities. That's the
Oh,
way that
right.
should be solved. So that's the way you solve TikTok, because
Yeah.
then TikTok doesn't have to go away. It doesn't have to get sold to a U.S. company. It can still be owned by a foreign company.
But
You just can't
since
get any of the data from that person's device
but
outside of the U.S.
how does that work if I own a company, I am putting in my disclaimer of my app,
Right.
I have access now to anything that is on your phone. Like
Right.
as a
Well,
company
so
now, because I own the app, I can make my own rules with that app.
there's a separate entity of the company that runs TikTok that's a U.S. operation.
Uh-huh.
I think I don't know if ByteDance is the U.S. company or if that's just the main company in China.
Yeah.
But it would be possible for them to share like that level of data,
Mhm.
whatever level of data that they need, because some of the stuff that the app captures is stuff that's relevant to, oh, you like videos about, you know, building fireplace walls in your house. I'm going to show you more of those.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason they do
Hey, you
capture
watched this
data.
for 10 seconds. You must like it, huh?
Yeah, yeah, and exactly. And so, they capture that kind of data for those purposes, and they
Mhm.
could keep that data for those purposes on US based servers and not share that information back to, the Chinese
Oh, right.
operation.
Because it's not me downloading the straight in China app,
Exactly,
like Red
exactly,
Note.
exactly.
Like
Yeah,
Red Note, I think especially since Red Note is so small, I think they're more just China based.
okay, yeah.
Probably. Because I'm pretty sure, like, but I don't know. Can't they also, well, no, I guess, yeah, you're talking about shared data. I was going to say they could
Yeah,
also just make it like no non US based apps.
it
You
running
can't
in the US,
download
yeah, that would
like
be the same.
any non US based apps,
Yeah,
but
that would be the same. Then it
yeah,
would have to go away again.
yeah.
But I think if you did, and supposedly I'd heard something that said that, the guy who's the head of TikTok in the U.S. had claimed, or had been out saying that, like, they changed that, and now the data is actually stored on Oracle servers that are
Hmm.
U.S. based and all that. And I don't know how true all that is, like,
Yeah. I feel like yeah.
but the interesting, that was the interesting thing to me about it, was like you're making that one app illegal, and what happened was, what did people do? They switched to a different, still China-based app
Yeah.
that had the same problem. Um, so they didn't fix the problem. What they did was they put out a fix that they thought looked like they were fixing the problem, which is what government usually does, or what politicians usually do.
Uh-huh.
I had seen some like the congressional hearings on it where they had the guy that was the head of
Yeah.
TikTok. Did you see those?
I've seen a couple clips of it, like on
So
Instagram.
the
On
most
Instagram because I
appalling
didn't have
thing,
TikTok.
yeah, because TikTok was,
I do love TikTok though. I would have been, you know what's funny is I'm so used to like just opening up the app. Like if I'm just sitting around doing nothing, like
yeah,
I'm so used to going through my cycle of I open Instagram, scroll on Instagram for a second, put it
yeah,
down, open TikTok, and that it was like I kept going to TikTok and being like, oh dang it, right,
yeah,
can't go on here.
yeah.
Gotta get
What's
it
funny?
out of my
I
cycle.
go on TikTok, but I'm not on it very long, because and I
Really?
think well, I think the algorithm hasn't populated properly for me yet, so I don't see anything I'm actually interested in. So I
Oh
just don't stay
man.
on it very long. I go on Reels on Instagram a lot. Like I'll sit and go through Reels
I
for
think it's
hours.
just
But
yeah, you just have to be on there long enough for the algorithm to algorithm because
so
yeah,
that
because I could scroll on TikTok forever just
yeah.
watching, and then what
Don't
happens
do you
is
do you ever worry that the Chinese government is getting your information?
I don't really have too much that they'd even
That
probably
they
be
know
interested in,
what
really.
kind of products you're interested in? I
They're
mean,
like, man, she watches a lot of nail art videos.
yeah. So, and part of it too is like the banning it on government computers, absolutely.
Right.
I mean, I think Facebook and X and Instagram and all those should be banned on government computers because those are computers that are
Privacy
intended
concern, yeah.
for. Well, they're also computers that are intended for, business government use. They shouldn't be used for things like that.
Yeah, like my work computer.
Yeah.
Oop, I just made our mics go crazy. My work computer, I strictly use it for work. I have a
Yeah.
separate laptop that, because sometimes I like going on an actual computer. Like if I'm placing a grocery order online, I like going on a computer because I just can see everything more clearly. I really want to get an iPad,
Yeah.
but I'll never be on my work computer and like open a tab of Amazon
Right.
or like
Right.
it's social media or
Right.
anything like
Yeah.
on my
Part of
actual
it
work
is too. You
computer.
never know with your work computer what your work is tracking.
That too.
You know.
Mhm.
But anyway, going back to the congressional hearings, like some of the questions that these Congress people were asking.
Mhm.
The one the one woman, and if I can, I'll throw it in here as part of this discussion. But the one woman was on, and she was asking, reading from note cards first of all,
Mhm.
and she's asking him if the she was asking him something about the algorithm, but she couldn't pronounce algorithm properly. So she doesn't. So that tells me she doesn't know what an algorithm is. And then she was asking him about the intention anyway was to ask him about GPS. Only
Mhm.
she kept saying GSP. So she also clearly didn't know what that was.
And GPS been around for way
Yeah.
too long to not know GPS.
Yeah. And then there was a guy
GSP.
who was on who was asking him, does this one was funny, and this one I will drop in, but he asked him, does TikTok access your home Wi-Fi? Does it access my Wi-Fi at home? And the guy who's the head of TikTok looked at him like I must not be understanding this question. He was either looking at him like I must not be understanding your question properly, or you must be an idiot, because just the expression on his face, because it's like it kind of has to go to the internet. And then I forget what the other one was.
TikTok.
Yeah, does it access your home? Oh, no. Then there was another guy who was asking about does it like track your eyes for your expression to see if you're interested in a story, so that it knows that it should give you more of those kind of stories.
Mhm.
And of course he said, the TikTok guy said, no, we don't. We the only like facial tracking we do is for the things to put sunglasses on you or whatever, because we have to know where your eyes are for that. But we don't do that. And I'm like, who gave these? Because my thing about that is, like, these congressmen that are asking these questions, they don't know what they're asking. They don't. They don't.
Mhm.
They're not technology people. That's part of the problem with our Congress, is it's mostly filled with people who are like lawyers and that kind of thing,
Mhm.
rather than people that have a specialty. So these people that were asking him are probably on, well, they might be on some kind of intelligence or that kind of committee, but I would assume it would be on some, that it would be some sort of technology committee, in which case they should be people with like technological prowess who know what GPS and algorithms are.
Oh my god, I was watching this. This is off topic, but you saying that, I was watching this video of this girl the other day, and she was doing a food video of like ChatGPT decides my like food for the day or whatever.
Yeah.
And she kept saying the entire video. She was saying Chat GTP.
Oh,
And it
no.
was driving me
Yeah.
crazy. I was like, GPT is
Yeah.
not what it
GPT. Chat GTP.
GTP, or yeah,
GTP
GTP.
is not what it is.
And she was just saying it so much too throughout the
Yeah.
video. I'm like, is this fake, or is she
Yeah.
really
She's
like
doing
thinks
it just
it's
doing just for
GTP?
how many people commented on it?
A
It's
lot of people, and then
GPT.
she said, even she was like, I know I said it wrong. I'm like, you just kept saying it. You probably said it like 25 times in this video.
Yeah. But
that annoys me when it's like
yeah.
off like that. That's one of those like silly little annoyances.
Yeah.
That
Especially
you're just
though when
like,
people do it all like they do it repeatedly.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's not like she just said it once and then kept
Yeah.
it moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like over and over and
That
over
was
again.
this woman. That was
Driving me crazy.
that was that congresswoman with that kept saying GSP. GSP.
What
Global
is GSP?
Satellite Positioning, which
GSP is something. I
could
think
be
it
a
has to
thing.
do with like. I think GSP is who took
I'm
my
sure.
senior photos.
There you go. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure it's an acronym for something. It's just not what she intended. If I was the TikTok guy, I would have answered and said, I don't know what GSP is. I would have kept saying that because I would not let that. I'm sorry, I'm
GSP.
not familiar with GSP.
That's funny.
And then the funny thing about that would be, since she has no idea what she was talking about, she wouldn't know either. I think that's part of the thing that gets on my nerves the most is that like the whole thing of this TikTok shutdown is was done as part or was done, by people in government that really don't understand what the problem is, and that's
So it
why
was
the
the
Elon.
government of who, like, that's not, or TikTok is the one who actually made it where
Yeah,
they had that alert come up.
they did the shutdown by their own choice on what was that, Sunday night? Is that Sunday night? Saturday night.
Saturday
It was
night.
Saturday night.
Yeah.
They did the shutdown by their choice on Saturday night. I think it was.
And it was before midnight too. A lot of
Yeah.
people were saying it was before midnight.
I think it was an attempt on their part to do something that would get the government to say, well, we're going to hold off on this because there would be so much outrage because people went to go on their TikTok and they got that message and people would, be calling Congress and all that. And I think
Yeah.
they're going to come up with a solution to it. I mean, we're recording this on Monday, so the new president was inaugurated today. He's already talked about that he's going to put.
He was saying that beforehand.
Yeah, he's going to
too.
put some kind of it has a provision in there for them to put a delay for that
like
to go
90
in place,
days, I think.
and then they're going to find some solution. I've heard ideas where maybe it's 50% U.S. owned, and that. And I really think the solution has nothing to do with ownership. I think it has everything to do with you should pass laws that say that you just can't share that kind of data with foreign entities, and that
yeah.
foreign entity might not even be a government. It could be a company in
Yeah.
another country, and that because there's no.
Like a clothing website, like it could even be a foreign clothing website, and I'm downloading their clothing app, and I
Right.
think that's a better solution
Temu.
anyways.
You're talking about Temu, right?
No, I'm not talking about. You know what's crazy about Temu? Let's talk about it. This episode's not about Temu, but
No, that's okay.
I always see like little things about Temu, but then I see people's horror stories about Temu too.
Yeah.
But when you go on Temu, they always have you, because I've never bought anything.
You
from
spin the
them.
wheel.
You spin the wheel, and it'll be like 80% off or like 3
Yeah.
free items, something crazy.
Yeah, that's how I know that it's not trustworthy is when it's giving me that because every time too you go on the spinner and it's like you didn't win anything, but you get another try, you won another try, and then on that other try I get like the 90% off thing.
Yeah, and then you go on there and it gives you a bunch of items to pick, and you're like, wow, like a beanbag, slippers, like wow, I have so many options.
Yeah.
And a bed frame, what? So then you click it, and then it'll be like, oh, you have to spend $40 to, and it's kind of like a. That's when I usually exit out of it, because then I'm just like, okay, y'all are trying to bamboozle me, and as
Yeah.
much as I love, I'm a shopping girl, I'm not gonna fall for the Temu.
I've gotten close though. Like when something's
I've
come
gotten
up,
close too. I've had a whole cart.
Yeah, well, it's been more like when an item comes up and I'm like, what? Like
Yeah.
they have that? Let me
Right.
let me buy that. And then I get in there and I'm like, I don't trust this.
Right. Something feels off. My intuition, my
Yeah.
bells in my head, they're all
Spidey
going
senses
off.
are tingling. Yeah.
Like, let me just close out of it. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna close out of it.
and I'm deleting that app from my phone. I mean, and I guess there would be a challenge in that too with sharing data with foreign entities because, like, an example is the company I work for, right, based in Germany.
Right.
We do. I don't think we have we don't really put customer data. We share. Yeah, so that wouldn't actually. We specifically don't share customer data.
But you
now
can
that I
make
think
laws
about it.
specific enough to also say like, we save your name, but you don't need to say my name.
Yeah.
I'll sign up each time if I need to.
Right.
You know, like you don't need to say my name.
Well, like
But
I said, they need some of that data on you because that's how they figure out what to show you. That's the algorithm figuring out what you're interested in.
Love
People
the
act
algorithm.
like that is bad, it's just it's they're tracking data on you
Uh-huh.
so that they know what ads to show you, what
That's
videos
why
to show you.
usually, usually every month when I'm scrolling down my Instagram, because they do it with every app too. It's
Right.
it's not just TikTok. It's not
No.
just these foreign apps. It's Instagram. It's Facebook.
Google. I mean, just go on
Google.
Google. Go on
Uh,
Google after you've looked for something on Amazon, and guess what? Guess what
yeah.
ads will be coming up on Google for you?
So like, uh,
And
a
there's
Temu ad pops up all the
yeah,
time on my Instagram, and I still
yeah,
haven't bought anything. But one of these times they think they're gonna get me, and they
yeah,
might.
yeah.
But I love the algorithm. If
I mean,
I'm
so the the positive to it to me is it doesn't waste my time showing me things that I have no interest in, right? And I'm talking even
right.
from an ad standpoint. I see ads that are things that might interest me. To me that's a good thing.
Uh huh.
The negative is it causes you to be more engaged, which usually to being engaged is a good thing, except you know engagement in the what do they call it, doom scrolling. That's not really good.
I mean, they even do algorithms like that though on like uh like Netflix and those streaming
Oh
services
yeah,
too.
yeah. Disney Plus all the time.
Yeah.
If I just watched a Marvel movie, it'll say, "Hey, you might also like this Marvel movie," that
Uh-huh.
kind of thing. Yeah, and again, I don't think that's necessarily negative.
It'll be
You
like,
know?
because you watched this,
Yeah,
here's some other ones. Like, oh, okay, yeah,
yeah.
maybe I'll check them out. I like, you know what I like with the most? I like when the algorithm, if I'm on TikTok and I'm watching a juicy little story time that somebody posts, and then the algorithm, it's like oh, I'll update you when this happens,
Yeah.
and then the algorithm brings me back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that see that's positive because then you don't
That's
have to
always
go and look
good.
for, or you
Then
don't forget about it.
I don't forget about it. I'll be
When I start
scrolling.
watching puppy videos, then all it wants to show me is puppy videos.
Yeah.
I don't watch puppy videos.
Or
Just
like
straight.
food stuff. I like,
Yeah.
it'll see that I'm
Oh yeah,
interested in one
and
recipe or one person.
yeah, Instagram does that too. Though, like
Yeah.
after I've looked at a recipe video, all I get are recipe videos. After I looked at a video that's some home improvement one, I see and I like that. Like
Right.
I like seeing all those kind of things. So, but anyway, it looks like TikTok is back.
Yeah, and I saw a thing that said like there's because they have TikTok Shop. I've talked about TikTok Shop before. I'm not a stranger
Oh
to
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And I prefer TikTok Shop over Temu. The only thing I don't like about
Well,
TikTok Shop is that a lot of times I'll see something that's like kind of cheap, like, oh wow, I could get this whole little set for $8,
mhm.
add to cart. And then it'll be like, I don't know,
No free shipping.
crazy yeah, like
Yeah,
a crazy
yeah.
shipping
They
amount.
always get you on the shipping.
Or
That
like spend 30 and you get free shipping.
yeah.
Like, I
That's
don't want to spend
so
30, I want to spend $8.
but the difference between like TikTok Shop and Temu is TikTok Shop is they're just like a what do they call it? Like an affiliate type situation. So like
Yeah.
we the company I work for has a TikTok shop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but all of the TikTok orders actually get fed to our like our normal website. They get fed in through our normal website. So when we
Oh.
process them, it's just the same as if the order came in as a website order.
Oh,
So it's just
interesting.
like a
And
marketing
it's
tool.
shipped from obviously the same place
Yep.
that if I went on the website. Yeah, they said, it did say the other day when it was canceled and then opened back up that there's like 7 million or over 7 million um TikTok shop vendors.
Yeah,
Isn't that
that
crazy?
doesn't
Seven
surprise me.
million
That doesn't
small
surprise me.
businesses
Yeah.
basically on TikTok in the US.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah.
A lot of people make money. This one girl, she that I follow, she doesn't really like rely on TikTok. She makes a few videos and she makes some money off of it just because of her following and engagement and stuff.
Mhm.
And she was saying that they just got paid on the 15th and she was like, I only made 400 $400 this month. But, some people that is their whole
Yeah.
livelihood, which I guess that's why you can't really depend on just one platform. You need to
Right.
make that money and
Diversify.
expand out.
Absolutely. Yep.
But
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is people that, but the other challenge of that is though, if you're somebody that you catch on TikTok and you get a big following, and maybe you don't have as big a following on YouTube Shorts or on on Reels. If you don't have a following on those other platforms, because the people just found you on TikTok, so that's where they follow you. Well, you can't as easily maybe translate, you know what I mean? The follow. I mean, you can tell people, oh, also check me out over here, but they might not do that. And then when something like what happened happens, now you're trying to like rebuild your following, so
I've noticed that TikTok, it is easier to get a following on TikTok. Like reach people on
yeah.
TikTok. Instagram, it's really hard to reach people and like get
Hmm.
anywhere, and I've heard that before anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder why, though.
YouTube, I feel like it's more, you know why I think it is? I think it is because on Instagram, when I go on Instagram most of the time, I'm scrolling down my feed of people that
Right.
I already follow. Like your main feed on Instagram that you go
Right.
to, it's people that you already follow. But with
Yeah, but if you go to Reels, then it's
so
more like TikTok.
if you go to Reels, but I don't think as many people just like scroll down Reels
Right.
the same way that like sometimes I do, like sometimes I'll go to
Well,
my
the
main popular page and then I'll watch a video that looks interesting, but my whole popular page it it's just a bunch of it's actually Valentine's Day stuff right now 'cause that's what I've been peeping my eye on, just like cute little decorations. But if I click on one and then I scroll down, now I'm in Reels and I'll scroll on recipes and stuff, but I think it's harder to reach people on Instagram because of that reason. Most of the time, you're paying attention to your actual people that you're following and interested
true.
in.
Yeah, true. I My question is, are there people who just look at Reels and don't, look at like Instagram?
Maybe.
Because
I
that,
think Instagram's more meme based, though.
right. Yeah.
So, like, our videos, we might pop up on someone's page and,
Right.
they might just scroll past it.
But
Which
but
you
I guess
shouldn't.
from the standpoint of like the videos themselves, if you post a video on Instagram, does it show up on Reels, or do you have to separately
You have
do
to post it
Reels
as a reel.
as a reel? Okay.
But I think, like, with TikTok, I think it's just naturally
Yeah. It's,
more random.
yeah. Yeah.
I think just by nature,
Well,
it's
and
more
YouTube. I mean,
random.
just going from our experience, like
Yeah.
we have we've gotten a little bit of traffic on YouTube.
Uh huh.
The stuff you've posted on TikTok has gotten a lot more traffic than
Way
anywhere
more,
else.
yeah.
Yeah. You don't now. I can't necessarily talk about engagement. You know
Yeah.
how
But
engaged.
I think it's hard to get engagement anyways, because, you know,
I think you have to have you have to have interesting topics, and what you post has to be relevant to that. You know what I mean? It has to be something that's going to hold people's interest. I mean, that's why
yeah.
on if we're going back to Reels, on Reels I'll sit and watch like those little home improvement type videos. I probably watched thousands of videos of people building fireplace walls. Um,
But even in terms of engagement, like, how many times do you see something interesting that you are interested in, that you actually like, and you're actually going on there and leaving a comment?
no, that's true. But when I say engagement, I'm talking more about how long they
Oh,
stay
like
on the
just
video
viewing
versus
it.
the video pops up, so that counts as a view, but they scroll right past.
But like the people that actually make money off of it, it's because they're getting, like on TikTok at least, I know for sure. I don't think Instagram even really pays like that,
No, I don't know.
but I know TikTok does, and with that, it's based on the likes that you're getting.
Right.
How many, like, if people are saving it, that gets you even more money. If people are commenting on it,
Right.
that's making you even more money. Like it's levels.
Right. Right.
So
And then
just a
and then the
like,
other aspect of it though is if you have like a big, say, Instagram following, you can start getting like product endorsement money too.
right,
You can get paid to do product endorsements.
Right. So like all of that, just simple engagement is what these, you know,
Yeah.
people are really making their money off of. And
Right.
some of them get paid pretty well.
Yeah,
So,
it is, it's a crazy world.
I don't know.
It's a crazy world out there.
Right. I don't know what they were planning
So
on doing if it got canceled,
we
but
were at we were at the Epcot, art festival, on Saturday,
mhm.
and it's always funny to me because you see so many people walking around with with the cameras that
Oh,
you can
like
tell
a
they're
yeah.
vlogging cameras
Yeah, because some of them go
for those
live
kind of
too. I
things.
know when people
Yeah,
go on get on TikTok live, they they make extra money off that too.
yeah, yeah. That's good.
I
Hey,
mean,
hey. Any way for people to make money is a good thing
I know that you need at least 1,000 subscriber followers. I don't know what they're called on
on
TikTok
TikTok. Yeah.
to be able to go live.
Oh, to be able to go live.
And that's what
Okay.
people were saying about Red Note is they're like, you don't need any subscribers or a certain number of subscribers to go live on
Yeah.
Red Note.
But there has to be a much smaller, like, list or viewer base on there,
I
right?
never
I
planned on
mean,
downloading that app.
no, I won't either. And I've heard a lot of people who like were TikTok users who said the same thing. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
Like I don't care that
Like
much.
the part of it is there are alternatives.
Yeah.
They might not be as good. Reels might not be as good, or YouTube Shorts might not be. You might not like it as much as
I think it's
TikTok.
just adapting.
Yeah, exactly. So why go to something completely new when there are other options that are pre-existing?
In the beginning, probably like a year and a half, 2 years ago at this point, um, I started using TikTok. And before that, I was like, I am not downloading
Yeah,
TikTok.
yeah,
I don't care about TikTok. I don't need to scroll. I have
yeah.
Instagram. I don't
I'm
need TikTok.
I I was a very late adopter. I just got TikTok like maybe 6 months
Like
ago,
over the
something
summer.
like that. Yeah, something like that.
I love now that I've downloaded it and I've gotten like more used to it and stuff. And again, I've also my algorithm has
The algorithm is working now.
yeah, the
It has enough
algorithm's
data.
working. I love it. Like
Yeah.
when I'm just at night sometimes in bed, you're not trying to really watch something. I'm about to fall asleep. I'm just going to go on my phone and scroll on Instagram.
Yeah.
Find some recipes, find some home things, find some girly
Just
stuff to
something.
watch,
Yeah.
something, yeah, literally just something.
Doom scroll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I hope they work it out. I hope they figure out a good way to do it. I hope they do it a
Mhm.
way that in another year we're not going, well, now red note's a problem, and they actually fix the problem because what they did wasn't the right fix.
Well, yeah, exactly. So that's also the I think the issue is that okay, TikTok's gone now, but everyone's downloading Red Note, so
Yeah.
you're in the same position now.
Yeah.
So are you just going to keep
It's
doing
just
that to
it's just
each
a shell
individual
game.
app? No,
Yeah,
you're
and
not
that's
gonna.
that's it. That's unsustainable. That like I said, that's the problem with them targeting the
Specific.
solution or
Yeah.
targeting as the problem being the app and it not being what the app is doing. You know.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy it's back.
All
Thank
right.
God.
Yeah. It came back. What? It was
Did you
only
see
out for like,
like not even 12
and
hours or
then and then
something?
they came back and they were praising Donald Trump for because he had said he was gonna like basically give them an extension or
But I
whatever.
think it was just like I think it was everybody just getting a lot of negative feedback. I
Yeah,
think
I
it
think so
was
too.
a lot of people were up in arms. There was this meme that I
I
saw though.
think. Oh, go ahead.
It was like it's like everyone going to sleep at night now since there's no more TikTok and I think it was from like The Simpsons or one of those cartoons and he was just getting into his bed, putting his covers on, turning over and like
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
okay,
That's
what do I do now before bed?
yeah.
And then there was another one and it was like how long people are in the bathroom now that there's no more TikTok. And it was someone just walking in the bathroom and then right out.
Yeah.
Which is sad also.
Yeah. It is. It
Because
is.
it shows how just, I mean, sometimes I
That's
have
why. That's
to,
honestly why I won't touch anyone else's phone I see too
Why?
many people taking their phones in the
Oh.
bathroom.
No, I think honestly, even in that situation, sometimes I catch myself. Like when I'm like if we're playing a video game or something, like what's a video game that we play? I don't know.
Mario Party.
We're playing Mario Party
Right.
and it's not my turn. I'll catch myself like where I feel like I have to be always
Yeah.
doing something
Yeah.
like, oh, it's not my turn, it's their turn. Let me just like pick up my phone
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
scroll two times on Instagram.
And that's probably a different discussion on that whole thing because like, and I do it too, right? So like it's the whole
I'm
thing
at
that I
it
said
like,
before.
you're
Like
at a red
you
light.
hit something that you get interested in. No, never at a red light, but you hit
Never at a
something
red
that
light.
you're interested in, you just keep going for hours, and it's I don't know. Is that productive use of your time?
Like I'm standing in line at the grocery store, got to pull out my phone and start scrolling.
Yeah, it's
Like
like when you're
any time that you're not doing anything, you
It's
have
like
that feeling of like, okay, I have
yeah,
to be doing
yeah, like
something.
exactly,
I have
and
to be
that's what
entertained.
it is. Yeah, my brain has to be entertained, so I got to do something. Um, the
Uh-huh.
worst is when you're like at a restaurant at dinner and you look over and like
Oh
everybody that
yeah.
you're at dinner with is on their phones. It's like
That's another time. Yeah,
it's
I'm
not
trying to be
good.
more conscious of just
Yeah.
like not being that person that's out in a moment that I should be engaging
Yep.
and just sitting there.
Yep.
If we're just
Because you know
chilling.
what, that phone, all that stuff you're looking at on that phone, that's going to be there later before you go to bed.
Yeah.
So when you're like with other people, yeah, be engaged. Don't
Yeah.
be
Like
distracted.
sometimes I'll put it away or I'll even like turn it over so that it's like flat
Yeah. Yeah,
and like
because
the
then,
screen's
well, that's,
down so
I
that I'm
mean,
not even like tempted. I'm not even seeing the alerts coming up.
yeah, that's when I get in the car now. Our car, like, it actually has the charging there, so I should put it this way, but
Oh
I have
yeah,
a
true.
wallet on the back, so it wouldn't work anyway. But I immediately put my phone like that on the thing.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a subliminal thing, I guess, so I don't, like, see something pop up and be like, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
Um, but it's
Exactly.
also just, like, gets it out of my way. And then we'll
Uh-huh.
drive on I-4, and I'll see the people doom scrolling while they're driving, and I think
Like while they're driving on
it's
I-4, that's just so
insane. Yeah,
crazy.
it's insane.
Like you're not even in a
I wonder if
situation where you're bored.
yeah, I wonder if that's like reduced while the TikTok ban was
It
on.
was overnight, so I feel
Yeah,
like not as much happened. You know when they should have really done it if they wanted to mess with everyone, like do it during the day. Just
yeah,
do
like
it from like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
yeah.
That will really
Well, I
should send
I
everyone.
wonder if part of the reason, because like I said, I think they did it to make a point, to be like, oh, okay, so this is what it's going to be like for you people when they shut it down. But I wonder if they had such negative feedback themselves, or if they were like, oh, well, wait, now downloads of Red Note have increased a ton, so that didn't, we've actually sent people to our competitor, kind of thing. So that's
Oh,
part of the reason that maybe they were like,
that too,
yeah, let's
yeah.
not,
They
because
saw that everyone was just like, okay, well, I guess we'll just go over here now.
yeah, exactly. So,
That's true.
all right, that's all I had on this. One other note: Go Birds in the championship game this Sunday against the team from Washington. I won't call them the Commanders because the Commanders sounds like an expansion team from Madden. It sounds like back in the day when you could create your own team. It always sounds to me like one of those expansion teams that
Wasn't
you
there
were able to
something that
create.
came out that said that they were gonna like change the
Yeah,
name
they were
back or
changing it
something?
back. I heard that. I did hear that.
Which is
We'll see.
crazy because it's like you just spent all that money
We'll see.
on all of the jerseys and like
Yeah, but
all of that stuff.
clearly by my hat, people are always into the retro stuff anyway. So I guarantee you, their fan base would go back, be happy they went back to the Redskins. And if the funniest thing or the silliest thing about all that is, if you know the history of the name of why they were called that,
Uh-huh.
it was the opposite of being disrespectful to Native Americans.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, look it up, read it. I'd tell it on here, but we're maybe that'll be for another show, another episode.
Bye, everyone.